Assalamualaikum, dear student. How are you? I hope you are well. Alhamdulillah, I am also well. Today, class 9 English past paper. This is Mr. Selim Reza. I am going to discuss with you so much important topic. The topic name is completing story. So, dear student, please listen to me or watch this online video class attentively to discover something better from the completing story. So, very beginning of my class, I want to say that please take your pen and take your notebook and start our class. Dear student, in our second semester exam, we have from the syllabus, we have seen that there are 5 completing story will come for this second semester exam. So dear student, from this 5 completing story, we have selected 3 completing story to discuss today. Okay? So dear student, please listen to me what I say and write down something about this type of story. Dear student, there are 2 parts. That is one part and that is another part. This is the main or this is the root line of the completing story which has been written in your syllabus, and this is this line or the title of this completing story. So dear student, we want to start our class about Robert Bruce. Dear student, you know Robert Bruce is a King of Scotland. Okay, so Robert Bruce, let's go to discuss about Robert Bruce. Okay, so Robert Bruce Robert Bruce was the King of Scotland. Robert Bruce was the King of Scotland. He loved his people so much. Not only that, but also the people of his kingdom also loved Robert Bruce. He had a soldier or he had army. Okay. After sometimes or after finishing or after passing some times, enemy had been attacked Robert Bruce. And finally, Robert Bruce also fought with his enemy. But at last, Robert Bruce had been defeated by his enemy. Again, Robert Bruce started his fighting with his enemy. But in this time, Robert Bruce again defeated by his enemy. After that, he lost his kingdom and he went away from his kingdom and took shelter in a cave. After taking shelter in that cave, he hidden. So we used here hid. He hid himself on this cave, and after passing some days, he noticed a spider was trying to up from the trying to up top level from the low level, but that spider again and again failed to up of the top level. But the spider did not forgive its attempt or hope. Again, second time or third time or fifth time and sixth time and finally 7th time, the spider up the top level from the low level. This type of scenery had given inspiration of the Robert Bruce. After watching this scenery, he became inspired himself and he gathered his soldier again and he reminded himself that he could win his kingdom. He could get back his kingdom. After that, he fought his enemy, and finally, we all know that Robert Bruce regained his kingdom. Okay, dear student, this is my story according myself, and I want to read this story from the book. Robert Bruce was the king of Scotland. Robert Bruce Scotland রাজা ছিলেন. His army was defeated again and again against the King Edward I of England. অর্থাৎ কিং এডওয়ার্ড I ইংল্যান্ড নামে একজন রাজা ছিলেন, তার সাথে রবার্ট ব্রুসের একটা যুদ্ধ হয় এবং রবার্ট ব্রুস had been defeated by king. Okay, after that being defeated for 6 times, 6 বারের মতো সে কি হয়েছিল, পরাজিত হয়েছিল. being defeated 6 times. তুমি এই কথাটা এভাবে লিখতে পারো, you can write this sentence in this way: Robert Bruce had been, এটা প্যাসিভ হবে, Robert Bruce had been defeated by his enemy for the 6th time, and after that he lost his hope. সে সমস্ত তার আশা সব হারিয়ে ফেললো. And not only that, but also he lost his kingdom. Okay, getting disappointed. তুমি এখানে বলতে পারো frustrated, disappointed, frustrated. Okay, getting disappointed, getting frustrated. He took shelter in remote cave. Remote মানে প্রত্যন্ত অঞ্চল. Remote is the place where there is no connection among the country or among the world, among the people. অর্থাৎ কোনো মানুষের সাথে যেখানে কোনো কারোর সাথে কোনো যোগাযোগ হবে না, সম্পর্ক হবে না, that is called remote area or remote cave. Once he was lying in the cave. একদা সে কি করেছিল, সে একটা কেভের অর্থাৎ গুহাতে সে শুয়েছিল. And then he saw a spider try hard to reach ceiling of the cave. তাহলে কি বললাম, যে when he was lying, he noticed that a spider was trying to up the top from the low level. অর্থাৎ নিচ থেকে একটা মাকড়সা উপরে ওঠার চেষ্টা করছিল. But the spider failed again and again to succeed. সফল হতে পারছিল না স্পাইডারটা, বারবার সে পড়ে যাচ্ছিল. Okay, but he did not give up hope. কিন্তু তার আশা সে ত্যাগ করেছিল. গিভ আপ মানে ত্যাগ করা, ঠিক আছে? Bruce saw the spider climbing the ceiling after some unsuccessful attempts. Robert Bruce had been seen that the spider tried again and again, and 6th time the spider became successful. Okay, then he gathered. After watching this type of scenery, Robert Bruce became inspired, and from this scenario or from this incident, Robert Bruce became inspired and refreshed and remind that he could again fight with his enemy and gather his soldier. After that, he became successful and he got back his kingdom. তাহলে আমরা এই যে গল্পটা এভাবে বললাম, এরপরে আমরা প্রথমে টাইটেলটা লিখবো ভিজিলেন্স ইজ দ্য কি টু সাকসেস, অর্থাৎ ধৈর্যশীলতাই হচ্ছে সফলতার চাবি. Dear student, I hope you understood what I discussed today with you. And second option, honest woodcutter. Honest is the best policy. Dear student, listen to me. This is a popular story of our class of 9. You also hear this story class 8. You also read this story in class 7. So this is a popular story. So once upon a time there lived an woodcutter. Okay, the woodcutter was honest, and he lived beside the jungle. Every day he used to go jungle for cutting wood for his livelihood. অর্থাৎ প্রত্যেক দিন কাঠুরিয়া কাঠ কাটতে যেত জঙ্গলে তার জীবন জীবিকার জন্য. The jungle was a river was there beside the jungle. অর্থাৎ একটা নদী ছিল জঙ্গলের পাশে. One day the woodcutter was cutting wood, but suddenly his axe had fallen on the river. But the woodcutter had only one axe. He has no alternative, and he had no ability to buy another axe. So he became very hopeless and very sad. After losing his axe, he sat beside the river and thought and thought and thought. Suddenly, a fairy, listen to me this sentence so much attentively. Suddenly, a fairy appeared before the woodcutter. এই সেন্টেন্সটার মানে হচ্ছে হঠাৎ একটা পরী, জল পরী বলতে পারি আমরা, হ্যাঁ, একটা জল পরী, সাডেনলি এ ফেয়ারি অ্যাপিয়ার্ড, অর্থাৎ দৃশ্যমান হলো বিফোর উডকাটারের সামনে। অ্যান্ড শি আস্কড, হোয়াই ডিড ইউ ক্রাই? তুমি কেন কাঁদছিলে? উডকাটার রিপ্লাইড দ্যাট আই হ্যাড লস্ট মাই এক্স অ্যান্ড দ্যাট ওয়াজ অনলি ওয়ান এক্স ফর লিভলিহুড। আমার একমাত্র জীবিকার যে অবলম্বন ছিল সেটা আমি হারিয়ে ফেলেছি। So I am so much hopeless and I have no alternative. Okay? The fairy, to listen this type of incident, fairy drove into the water and collected a golden egg and showed him, is it yours? Is it yours? Woodcutter replied, no, this is not mine. Eta amar noy. Fairy again drove into the river and collected silver eggs. Okay? And again showed him, is it yours? Woodcutter replied in the negative that it was not mine. Finally, the fairy drove into the water and collected the original eggs, which was iron eggs, and showed the woodcutter and asked, is it yours? This time, woodcutter became very happy and said that yes, it is mine. So the fairy gave woodcutter his original axe, and fairy became surprised to see this type of honesty. So that the fairy gave the woodcutter original axe, iron axe, and golden axe. And this is the way woodcutter became very rich. So we can say that honesty is the best policy. Dear student, I am the ending of the part of my class. So you have a homework. The homework is you have to write these two story with title, and please post in your individual WhatsApp group. So dear student, thank you very much to attend my class, and next class we will discuss another part of completing story. Take care. Goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.